of rice, cabbage noodles, your choice of protein like the Rock Bop, which is tangy fried chicken, and your choice of sauce from all sweet to nothing but the heat. Bop on over to eatcupbop.com to find the location nearest you and savor some crazy good Korean food served with a smile. With 5 area locations: 1100 South Fort Apache at Charleston, 7150 North Durango at Elkhorn, 4680 South Maryland Parkway, 1975 West Craig Road, and 7175 West Lake Mead Boulevard.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for the host with no filter and the millennial who keeps him in check. Get ready for the stories that matter to you. It's Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro and Jamie D.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pushing the Limits Live on KSHP, AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. You all may be surprised to hear my voice right now. Unfortunately, Brian is not going to be in today. So you have me, Jamie D, and the wonderful Las Vegas personality, C-Win. How are you today, man?
I'm doing great, Jamie. Good to join you. It is Monday.
Yes.
So it's a start, week number 2 of the month of May.
Yes.
We're getting it rolling here. Unfortunately, Brian, a little bit under the weather, but that's okay. We're gonna hold down the fort, my friend.
Right. Super excited to have you here
and
today.
Get everybody prepped up and ready.
Yes, it's a start to a great week.
Start of a great week. Yeah,
yes. So, Chris, I obviously want to talk about all the important things that happened over the weekend. However, I want to get into what we did this weekend. Liven up the show a little bit because there's a lot of sad things we're going to talk about later in the show. So, let me know, how was your weekend this past weekend?
It was outstanding. Had a chance to cover some Vegas Golden Knights hockey on Saturday, and it kind of leads in and is a great segue to what you did this weekend, Jamie, because as I left the game, I was covering the game, and I had to actually go work my other gig, which is on the Las Vegas Strip. So I Ubered, and I was talking to the Uber driver, and apparently there was a lot of people heading on out to I believe the Clark County Fairgrounds, if I'm correct, for a big time. Where's that where the location was?
The festival grounds.
Yes, my mistake.
No, you're all good.
And
no
there
worries.
was a big time concert out there that one of us in the studio happened to attend. Am I right on that?
Yes, I attended the Lovers and Friends Festival this past weekend, and what a great show it was. I do also want to tell you about the realities of the show. Now, there were so many great hits and artists that were performing this past weekend, such as Missy Elliott, Usher, Chris Brown, Summer Walker, and more. If you listen to R&B and hip hop, you would have loved this festival. Honestly, I had a great time, but I would honestly rate it a 7 out of 10.
Really?
Chris, yeah. There were.
What was it? What's the drawback that pulls 3 away from there?
I'm going to tell you. So there were so many sound technical difficulties. We went to go watch my friend Tracy Holloway and her husband A.T. Holloway went to go see the show this past weekend. They wanted to see a lot of different artists such as Missy Elliott and Mariah Carey. And even went to Mariah Carey's set, her mic was off majority of the time. When she hit her sounds and her runs, like her mic was off. Mic was off.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
So she was essentially going a cappella.
No. It's not even that she was going a cappella. Like, you couldn't hear her. Like, she would go.
Like at all.
Like, you see I'm trying to talk now?
Yeah.
And you don't hear anything? Like, it would be nothing. On top of that, as you know, when you go to these big festivals, it's a huge crowd. And so you're obviously going to be all the way in the back trying to pay attention to the show, trying to see the artist. And they should, which this festival did, have speakers all the way in the back as well to, extend the sound. And even those speakers weren't working. So if you were far in the back, you couldn't hear some of the acts, which sucked. Even 50 Cent, when he came out during his show, his mic and his sound went off like 3 times. The bathrooms were weirdly placed throughout the entire festival. I will say this, though. A pro about the festival, they gave out free water.
Did they?
Now, I was like, now you guys are great for this, because most of the time, festivals and all these other activities, they try to charge for water, $10-20 for a bottle of water, which is insane, especially when you have so many stories where you hear people are falling out at these festivals and it's too hot and too crowded. So I was really happy that they had water for everybody. The food, I would say, was reasonably priced. $12 for pizza. I mean, it was a big slice of pizza, so that was cool. And it was just really a really good time. I enjoyed it.
So we are in the time of year where we have music festivals aplenty here in Las Vegas. Look, it's the entertainment capital of the world, right, Jamie? So we have big-time stars, headliners all over the Las Vegas Strip every single day, every single weekend.
Facts.
But there's another big festival coming up next week where there's going to be a lot of very popular
EDC?
rock bands. Yeah, rock bands that are going to be coming to town. I believe next Friday. So there's
Yeah.
so another Life is Beautiful, of course, is here in Las Vegas. So it is music festival heavy when it comes to this town. So not a surprise that it was a pretty good time as you headed over there over the weekend.
What else did you do? Did you do anything else exciting that you?
Yeah, well, you know me, I'm a big sports guy, so I was watching a ton of sports. Obviously, the Kentucky Derby was over the weekend, and there was a lot of news surrounding that went down. A lot of basketball playoff action yesterday that we got a chance to catch, as well as some NHL action, and later on in the show we'll have Ron Futrell from 8 News Now, longtime Las Vegas sports media personality, to talk everything VGK, as well as get his take on the Raiders and the draft, as well as the possibility that there could be some hiccups when it comes to the Las Vegas A's coming to town. It's not just a situation, of course, with just having baseball and Major League Baseball here in town. It's about, can they do it from a feasible standpoint, from financially, when it comes to the stadium. So we'll talk to him about that. But yeah, a lot of sports heavy stuff, my friend.
Yeah.
And you got a chance
to
do that as well too. And so it was that's pretty much what took up most of my weekend.
That's good, man. Chris, I'm excited to have you here today at the show. Again, Las Vegas personality and radio personality, Chris Wynn, a.k.a. C-Wynn. Thank you for that. So I do want to get into what we're going to be talking about today.
Right.
There's a lot of heavy things that transpired this past weekend, which really sucks for our country. We have the city of Arizona was sued over a homeless encampment downtown. A gunman equipped with the AR-15 went into an outlet mall in Alice, Texas over the weekend and killed 8 people. And a driver slammed into a group of migrants waiting at a bus stop outside of the shelter in the Texas border town of Bronzeville. And it's just a lot going on. I do want to start off with our Phoenix homelessness story. So this is a story that's actually breaking news right now. A lot of the media outlets are talking about it, and it's actually stirring up a lot of different viewpoints because everyone's kind of confused about this lawsuit. So like I told you all, the city of Phoenix was sued 2 months ago because they had a huge homeless encampment downtown, and it was getting worse and worse over the years. And the city actually was sued by the neighbors and the local businesses that were in the downtown area. Funny enough, the lawsuit was actually won by the neighbors and the local businesses. So now the city of Arizona, Phoenix, must clear up a homeless encampment in a downtown area called The Zone. Now, this is a forced action put into place because, again, they were sued. However, it seems as though that the city has no true options for these homeless people or any actions in place to make sure that they're safe and protected. Now, they're saying that they have until this Wednesday to start cleaning everything up, but the only options they truly have is water, a bus ticket to who knows where, and a sheltered bed if available. Chris, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, my first response to that story, Jamie, is this. You want to have a plan set up logistically where you can handle the situation that presents itself when you are going to, when the rubber meets the road and you're actually making a decision as far as breaking up this encampment. Now, look, this isn't just a Phoenix, Arizona thing, right? This is something that happens in almost every major American city where you have the clash, right? The clash between local businesses and people, maybe even people in residential areas that don't necessarily want that element of homeless people in their vicinity, right? Because they think it takes away from business. Obviously, it takes away from their, their residency if they live in an apartment or they live in a house or whatever. So this is something that, especially, it's been talked about ad nauseum in San Francisco, right, in the Bay Area, about the situation there regarding that. So this isn't anything that's unique to Phoenix, but this is a story that's unique to Phoenix. You're talking about as far as a lawsuit that was won. So obviously, the powers that be in the legal community there feel that it's justified that these individuals were able to win this lawsuit, and therefore there has to be other arrangements made for the homeless population there. Look, that's the job for the city officials, right? You've been elected there. You're the ones that are going to make the decisions in the city of Phoenix as far as what exactly is going to happen with these individuals who don't have an option right now, apparently, to actually live in that area.
Right, and see, you're not wrong. The biggest thing that kind of hits home to me is the fact that I feel as though a lot of people are missing empathy and sympathy. While I agree that, homelessness can be a public nuisance, there's a lot that comes into that. For example, those who were sued the city said that it came with unsanitary conditions, drug use, violence, property crimes, fire hazards, and blocked right-of-ways, which I've seen even living in Los Angeles, California, because the homeless population out there is huge, and the homeless pandemic is just crazy because you look at all these different areas, and you're just like, there's no way that there's many houses on the street. There's legit tents on the street, and people are creating fires to stay warm. It's a sad thing to look at. But what is the city actually doing to help these people? Yeah, they're giving out bus tickets and stuff, but where are they sending them? If you look at these type of situations, all you're doing is moving homeless people from one place to another place. And you're making another area in the city an even dangerous and unsafe place. And it just makes it hard for people like me to look at, because what are you actually doing, you know? One thing they also said is that they're trying to make an actual campground for these homeless people with security, restrooms, and hand washing stations, but this won't be available right away. So it's like, what's the point of giving us these options that aren't even realistic, and there's no projected date of when this will be finished? On top of that, they're scrambling to provide leasing of hotel rooms and converting vacant buildings into shelters. But again, there is no projected date on when these things will be done. So what's the point of telling us these things?
Well, it's a textbook case of a decision was made, yet they were not prepared to deal with the word I'll use is fallout, but it's really deal with the situation on the ground. And that is, what exactly is the plan for the homeless population. Look, I don't know logistically how this all works. I'm not an expert when it comes to relocating homeless people in any city. But I would expect that campgrounds would be an option, something along those lines, some way where you can make it feasible for these people to live, and to move if you're going to move them to different areas. That's the way I'd look at it. But again, I mean, I wouldn't want to try to dive too deep, I guess, given that I'm not someone who's an expert when it comes to that type of scenario when it presents itself. But I would expect that they would have some type of plan. I guess that's what my final say I'll have on this. I would expect the city of Phoenix, the powers that be, the city officials would have a plan as to how to deal with this once you realize that the lawsuit was won, or even not even a lawsuit was won, that the city of Phoenix decided to go in a direction where you wanted to relocate people that were living where they're either not supposed to live or aren't, paying to live, or they aren't, it's not their property. So. But
how does homelessness make you feel? Do you believe that it's a public nuisance? Does it bother you seeing?
No, I look at homelessness in this way only. I look at it like it's a difficult situation. I feel bad for people who are homeless, and especially as a veteran myself. There are hundreds of thousands of veterans out there that are homeless. I feel like it is a issue. I think it's been an ongoing crisis for a number of years. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I have all the answers. But I will say this. I mean, I think that there is a solution. There is a way to fix it.
You're saying there's a solution, but I don't see anything.
So that it all the parties involved are satisfied. That's what I'll say about it.
Now, Chris, again, this is breaking news right now on all the social media platforms and a lot of the media outlets. But one thing that was very interesting to me was Arizona's Democratic Governor, Katie Hobbs, actually vetoed a bill this year. And I want to read this bill to you, because this was a bill that was actually trying to be put into place before this lawsuit was even settled. And I want to read this to you. I want to know what your thoughts is. So this is a Senate bill that was hopefully going to be put into place before it was vetoed. And it says, a person may not erect or maintain in a public streets, highway, alley, lane, parkway, sidewalk, or other right-of-way, whether the right-of-way is dedicated to the public in fee or easement, any full or partial enclosure for habitation, including a tent, tarp, box, or similar object. None of those things are allowed. So my thing is, how are you going to put out a bill that's going to state that, hey, we're going to restrict homeless people from being able to find a place to stay, but then also not have options for where they should go? I personally believe that Arizona Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs did the right thing by vetoing this bill, because how are you going to put a bill in place but no actual options and no solutions? To me, that's infuriating, because as a young adult myself who is right now in the industry trying to make a name for himself, we don't get paid that much. And sometimes I feel like, how am I going to survive sometimes? I don't want to be homeless. So I'm pushing so hard for myself to stay where I'm at and to be secure, but to know if that, God forbid, happened, I won't really have any help. I mean, this stuff is scary, man. It just bothers me how a lot of people that are in government are trying to make all these rules, but aren't actually going out on these streets and helping people, aren't actually going out on the streets and talking to people, and they're not making it their problem. They're making it a you problem, so you figure it out. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, let's dissect it a little bit, though. You talked about the bill, right? A bill is designed, the reasoning behind it, I mean, this is my personal opinion when it comes to that bill, is designed because you don't want to have homeless people building encampments or whatever you want to call them on sidewalks, right?
Which
or
I
on streets,
right?
Because you need to have a daily flow of life, right? People walking by, people driving by. So that's kind of the rationale. The second part of what you talked about was your opinion regarding. They need to have something in place if you're going to implement a bill like this.
Yes, you have to have a
I mean,
solution.
that makes sense, but the bill, the initial part of the bill, I have no problem with because yes, you got to have a daily flow of daily life in your city.
Right.
So it would make sense that you would not want to have people building their homes, in places like on public sidewalks or roads or streets or whatever, on freeways, whatever. And that's why you see a lot of ingenuity, creativity when it comes to homeless people, like living in here in Las Vegas, for example, living in areas down by the Strip, like underneath the Strip, essentially. So they're not necessarily right in everybody's way. I guess I'm not really describing this greatly, but
no, I hear
you kind of get my point.
Yeah, I get your point.
There's a method to the madness, is the phrase I use all the time.
You're not wrong.
There's a reason why a bill like that would be put in place. I mean, we're kind of going in circles a little bit about this, but the point being is that look. Every city needs to address the homeless population with compassion. With compassion and empathy is the way that we need to address it, and then go from there and make decisions, and then talk again. It's the same thing with COVID-19 or anything else. Listen to the people that know what they're talking about. Don't listen to people that don't know what they're talking about. Okay, don't listen to idiot politicians. Don't listen to dumbasses that you see on social media or some radio host or talking heads like us. Listen to individuals who have expertise in the area, and then you take their guidance, and then you apply it, and then you actually fix the problem. And it's going to lead into everything that we're going to talk about on this show, and every show you're going to talk about with Brian as well, too, the rest of the time here on PTL. By the way, Jamie, shout out to everybody that is posting on social media right now. We can find me and myself and Jamie are all over the live chat on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all across the social media spectrum, as well as the phone line as well, too, Jamie, right?
Yes, and I also want to let you know,
as far as this is a very interactive show.
Right, and there are people who are talking right now that saying they want to call in. So please, if you want to call in and talk about this subject before we move on, the number is 702-221-7283. I have a few more questions I want to ask C-Win before we move on. So again, if you want to call in and get your opinion heard about this homeless situation, the number to call is 702-221-7283. Now, C-Win, I know you said we're talking in circles, but there is one important point that I want to touch on because you said this. You're a veteran, correct?
Yes.
And I want to say thank you for your service. I actually never knew that. Yeah. Can you explain to me what did you serve?
I was in the Army, United States Army.
Okay.
Yes, back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay. Yeah. Now, could you touch on why do you think there are a lot of veterans who are homeless nowadays?
Well, there's a number of reasons. Post-traumatic stress disorder, mental issues, just bad breaks in life, period. There's a number of issues. Look, I'm not going to sit here and speak to someone who's been homeless. I never have been homeless.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not.
Has it ever been?
But there are a number of reasons why.
Right.
And there's a number of reasons why veterans are more prone to be homeless than just the average Joe, the average Jane out there in America.
Now, have you ever had a scare of being homeless as a veteran at all?
I have not, no.
You have never had?
No.
Okay. So my question to you is that, with that being said, what do you think are the resources that are being given to these veterans who are homeless? Do you know any of them? Do they provide you with anything?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't know the names of any of the programs that are available.
No one has said like, hey.
But there are options. There's some options. Not a lot of options, but there are some.
Right.
So yeah, but there is opportunities.
Right.
And there is an ability, I guess, on certain levels to get some help with respect to being homeless and being a veteran.
Now, my last thought on this is that this lawsuit that was just won is going to set a precedent for other cities to come as it pertains to getting these homeless encampments out of their cities, especially in cities like LA, Chicago, Miami, and so on. My thought is this is not solving the issue. You're literally just putting a law, you're putting something in place where it's going to say, hey, let's just move these homeless people over here. And to me, that really just bothers me. I really want to stick home to the fact that I want to pressure our politicians to understand that if you're going to help people, truly help people. I think we do have some people calling in at 702-221-7283. But my issue with this is that why do you think that moving someone from one place to another is going to solve the issue? I have lived in 9 major cities so far, and in all the cities that I've lived in, there was homeless people in every city, and it just got worse and worse and worse. Living in Los Angeles, that was like the most scariest homeless population that I've seen because they're on drugs. Some of them have mental issues, and it's just driving people crazy knowing that sometimes they're afraid to walk on the streets. And again, you're literally just moving people from downtown to probably another unsafe area. We do have a caller calling, and right now the name is Aaron. Again, 702-221-7283 if you want to call in. We have a few more minutes on this topic. Hey, Aaron, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. You have me and C Win on the line. What's up, man?
Hey, I have a question for the guest on.
Okay. Yeah, Chris Win.
I don't know if it can help homelessness, but I was wondering the churches they can help out with homelessness because I work for a church and they can help with homelessness. So I was wondering if that could help some with homelessness because I volunteer and they help people off the streets to get into a low income housing. So that could be part of the solution, not the whole solution.
That's a great point, too. And look, the evangelical community across the country, by the way, not just in Las Vegas, but across the country, is essential when it comes to dealing with issues like homelessness and other issues as well, too. Because what are they? They are a community of compassion, right? Of empathy. The people that are evangelicals, look, I have issues because I'm a left-wing Democrat, so the obvious assumption is that I would clash with evangelicals. That's not true all the time. I absolutely do not clash with them all the time. When it comes to things like this, I am on board with them. Okay, I am someone who is in support of people that either attend church, are evangelicals, or would consider themselves religious individuals who care about the community, want to better the community. And what is that doing when you're trying to help the homeless? You're trying to better the community, right? So I would agree with Aaron absolutely that they can be instrumental when it comes to help solving the homeless situation.
Yeah. Now, Aaron, I do want to ask you a question. You said you're somebody who volunteers for churches, and you see that there are certain churches that are opening their doors. Why do you think that a lot of churches actually aren't stepping up in these situations? Because I know there are a few churches here and there that help out, but there are a lot of churches that have land. There are a lot of churches that do food drives, but they're not opening their doors to our homeless population. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's because, for my point of view, the money, some churches don't have a lot of money, so I think that could be a reason because housing is a lot of money. So I think that could be a reason is money.
And you think because they need money that they're not going to actually open their doors for the homeless population?
Could be. No, I'm not 100% sure, but what I think is that money is an issue.
Okay, thank you about that. Now, just one more question for you. What makes you actually volunteer to help out the homelessness in your city?
So I'm actually not in Vegas. I'm from Salt Lake City, and
Okay.
I see a lot of homeless people in my area, and I just want to help out. So I don't like to see people suffer, and even though I have a house, I just don't like to see people suffering. So I want them to be safe, and the world's crazy, and I want them to be sheltered from that.
Makes sense. Well, thank you so much for calling, Aaron. Really appreciate it. We really love when you guys call in and give your opinion about our topics. Again, the number is 702-221-7283. Chris, we are going to be moving on to a different topic. But before we go to break, because it is about that time, I actually want to ask you about something that we haven't talked about before. Do you believe that one reason we have a lot of homeless population in a huge homeless population in Vegas is because of the gambling crisis? It's a lot of things that people don't talk about here in Vegas, that a lot of gambling addicts find themselves homeless because of their addictions.
I don't think there's any question about that. There probably is. And I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but yes, we are a city that has been built on the gaming industry. So there are people who are casualties of that industry. And there's been situations, of course, where people have gotten themselves into trouble. And by trouble, I mean that they end up broke.
Right.
And, of course, that is one of the elements when you're talking about people that end up homeless. So I don't think there's any doubt that there has been that situation here in the city of Las Vegas.
See, now I got to make it personal, though, Chris. How do you keep yourself out of danger when you're gambling? Because, I know nothing about gambling.
Well, I've been here for 20 years. I've been able to Jamie, I know we're going to
I
break,
get
but
scared.
hey, I've been here for 20 years. I've been able to manage it. I don't get into a situation where I'm gambling away that my bill money for the bills that I have to pay. Right. And look, I've lost a lot of money in Vegas. I've won a lot of money in Vegas, and I look at myself as someone who's fortunate. Okay, right. Because I mean, I guess if it really went south from a gambling standpoint, and I really took a dive and became a super duper degenerate, it would have been very difficult for me. But I've been very fortunate that that hasn't necessarily been the situation. And I've been, I never let it get to a point where it's just overtaking my financial stability. See, but it's a very tough thing.
I get scared because I feel like if I start learning how to gamble for real, I'll get lost in the sauce and lose all my money. But hey, we do have a lot that we're going to be talking about in the upcoming segments. Again, we want to talk to you all about a gunman that was equipped with an AR-15 who went into an outlet mall in Allen, Texas over the weekend and killed 8 people. A very tragic and horrific story. We want you guys to stick around because this is a story that we really want to have callers to call in about. Again, the number call in is 702-221-7283. Again, that's 702-221-7283. You're now listening to Jamie D and C Win on Pushing the Limits live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams, treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices. Office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
Big Dogs Brewing Company, open 24/7, is an award-winning brewery, a full-service catering business, and a fun, smoke-free brew pub restaurant with a full-service bar, including over 35 craft beers on tap, 35 multi-denomination slot machines, the best gaming promotion, and a lively, dog-friendly outdoor patio. Big Dogs Brewing Company, 4543 North Rancho at Gray. Find out more at BigDogsBrews.com.
Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best tavern, keno, and video poker in Vegas. Promos are how we roll to make the most of your gaming dollars here with us. Come play our proud partner gaming promotion, Fly Aviators Fly, and receive daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win awesome brand of prizes and big money for all the jackpots each week. It's not only great gaming that Steiner's Pub has, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and Vegas' best appetizers to match. So join us in supporting your Las Vegas Aviators, Golden Knights, Lights, Aces, and the Raiders as we make history in Vegas. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub at 8410 West Cheyenne, 1750 North Buffalo, and Las Vegas Boulevard at Windmill. Steiner's, I love this place.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702 540-3311.
Sapphire Pool and Day Club, the world's only topless gentlemen's day club, introduces its 2023 pool season lineup with a bevy of beauties and social media celebrities throughout the summer who will all host alongside hundreds of Sapphire's topless poolside entertainers. Enjoy brunch in the sun with items like frittata-style omelets, stripping chicken, and French kiss toast before washing it down with signature summertime cocktails. 10 lines beware. Go Bear! Ladies are welcome to go topless within the day club for the ultimate party. Guests can purchase affordable day bed packages, cabana packages, lounge chairs, and more. The best part though, Pushing the Limits will be broadcasting shows every other Friday throughout the pool season with a ton of surprise celebrity guests. Wow! Reserve your spot now. For more info, visit sapphirepoolLV.com or call 702-869-0003. That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pushing the Limits live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. Yes, we are live on your FM airwaves, everybody. Super excited to have that a part of our show. Before we get back into the segment, let me tell you about our friends at Sahara West Urgent and Primary Care. Listen, I am a new native individual here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I can tell you it is not easy finding a place to go where you feel welcome and taken care of. And Sahara West Urgent and Primary Care is the place you want to go. They have so many different options to be able to treat you for whatever needs you may have. They have work and sports physicals, wellness exams, STD screening treatments, car accident treatments, work injury treatments, TB tests, and more. They are located at 6125 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 1B, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89146. And they take, walk-ins. No appointment needed. Give them a call at 702-248-0554. Again, that's 702-248-0554. Tell our friends at Sahara West Urgent and Primary Care that we sent you, all right? Now, to get back into the show, we have a very horrific tragedy that happened this past weekend in Texas. And my heart and prayers go all to the individuals who were harmed and who have honestly passed because of this situation. And those who are just affected. This past weekend in Allen, Texas, again, there was a shooter who was equipped with an AR-15 who just sprayed bullets in an outlet mall in Allen, Texas, killing 8 people and harming who knows how many other people because it caused mass hysteria in this outlet mall. And this is just horrendous. I'm tired of being able to wake up in the morning and seeing another mass shooting in places that are getting closer and closer to home. I lived in Dallas, Texas less than a year ago, and I was always in Allen, Texas at their outlet malls. And the fact that you never know where you can show up and you can be a victim of a mass shooting is it's horrible. I just hate it, Chris. I hate talking about these things, man. It's too much.
Well, here's the deal, Jamie. It's a endless cycle of loss and tragedy and absolute lunacy when it comes to the United States of America and mass shootings. And specifically, we're talking about, obviously, the state of Texas, right? In the state of Texas, since 2015, there have been, I believe, 7 or 8 mass shootings that are of significant note. Mm-hmm. Over 100 people have lost their lives, innocent people have lost their lives, not including the shooters. Mm-hmm. It is something, and look, we are looking at the state of Texas right now, but this is a national problem.
This is.
When it comes to mass shootings in America.
It's like it's happening every other day.
But Jamie, we're not talking about gun violence in cities. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about gang violence in cities. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about black-on-black crime or white-on-black crime or black-on-white crime. Mm-hmm. We're talking about mass shootings. Yep. And we're asking the question, why is it continuing to happen? Yep. What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same
thing. It's continuing doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yep.
And that is what we are doing in America. Mm-hmm. And now, of course, because of this latest shooting in Allen, Texas, right, which is, by the way, it's an affluent community, so that doesn't really matter, I guess.
It doesn't matter, but
it doesn't really matter because it's still a tragedy.
It's a tragedy for sure.
But it's not a place where you'd expect something like this to happen. But hey, this is America, and these are mass shootings.
We don't expect
so they happen all the time.
And it happens.
So they're happening all the time.
Right.
So we ask the question, logically and reasonably, how do we fix this, America? How do we fix it? Because it's beyond the pale of ridiculousness
Yep.
at this point.
Yep.
Nothing happened after Sandy Hook. Nothing happened after Parkland. Nothing happened after Aurora, Colorado. Nothing happened after Uvalde, Texas.
You're not wrong.
I mean, it is a solution that we need to find in America with respect to mass shootings. Now, Governor Greg Abbott in Texas already came out, and he's already towing the Republican governor line. Whether it's Brian Kemp, whether it's Ron DeSantis in Florida, what do? They deflect to some other issue that they think is the problem that needs to be fixed.
Right.
In Greg Abbott's case in Texas, what is he talking about?
Right.
Mental health
Right.
in America. You, Jamie, Brian Shapiro, Doug Basham, anybody else that's hosted on the show, myself, have talked till the cows come home about how mental health is an issue around the world.
We sure have.
Countries around the world have a problem with mental health. And yes, we need to find solutions for those issues.
Right.
But mental health is not why the United States of America has the majority of mass shootings across the globe.
You said it's not, or it is?
It's not. Mental health is not the reason.
What's the reason?
Why the United States? Because we have a gun culture in this country that is unique to America.
Okay.
We have a piece of Americana.
Okay.
We call it Americana insanity at this point, where we believe that those that constructed the Constitution, right, those that wrote the Constitution, are all-knowing, and essentially it's like a biblical document that we cannot change at all.
Right.
Like the Second Amendment can never be changed. Right. And if we ever do change it, or if there ever is amendments to it, they need to, there needs to be a solid reason for it.
Right.
How about this? Innocent people dying every day, innocent children dying every day. That's a reason to make changes. Our forefathers didn't think when they were constructing the Constitution, we're going to have an issue with mass shootings in America, an epidemic of mass shootings in America.
You're not wrong.
In the 20th century and the 21st century.
Right.
Didn't think about that. All right? It's fair for them not to think about that because, and I'm not talking smack about, our ancestors, but they just weren't as enlightened as we are now as a society. We're much more enlightened. We understand it. So here's the bottom line. It's something we have to fix.
Right.
And the only way it's going to get fixed is through legislation, right? And
our government actually stepping in.
Unfortunately,
and
we are in a
to
climate right now, Jamie D. We are in a climate.
Why do you say my name like that?
No, I'm saying it. I'm trying to lay the point down here.
Right. I say what I do. I'm not a politician.
It's a vicious cycle, and it goes through. We give our thoughts and prayers. We give our condolences.
I'm tired
we talk about our sorrow.
Right.
We talk how we should do this and we should do that.
Right.
Yet nothing ends up getting done. And what ends up happening? Well, tomorrow there's another mass shooting, or next week there's another mass shooting.
Listen,
or the week
and
after,
it's affecting our kids.
It's going to happen
our
again.
Family. It's a big issue
very
that I'm so
frustrating.
tired of living through.
It's
not even
very
just talking
frustrating.
about, but living through. Chris, I do want to push back at you though, because you said that the gun issue is not a mental health issue as a whole. You said it wasn't as a whole, which I hear you. However, you may not like this, but they're stating that the suspected gunman, which I will not name because I will not be giving this person any publicity, even though he was eliminated after the shooting. They're saying that he was in the Army for 3 months and was actually discharged because of physical or mental health conditions.
Well, yeah.
And
Understandable.
Right, and they're saying that this may have led to him shooting up this mall. However, he was in the Army in 2008. It's now 2023. I want to understand, yes, mental health is a lifelong issue that people deal with, especially if they don't have resources. But what the heck happened from 2008 until 2023 if we knew this individual had a mental health issue? Why was nothing done? Why do we have 3 Korean people who were killed, 2 elementary school sisters who were killed, and countless more people who were killed because of a person that was known to have mental illness and didn't get any help? Why are we dealing with
Okay,
this?
so
Jamie,
Jamie, here's the thing though. You're not looking at the bigger picture. Look, I'm not saying that in this shooting situation, absolutely mental health could have been an aspect of this, right? That came into play. The problem in America is that we have this lethal combination of you have people that are either mentally ill or people who are just upset or people that have motives to kill people or whatever.
Mentally ill to me.
And then you have unfettered access to assault rifles, AR-15s, M16A1s, A2s, which I was issued when I was in the Army back in 1989. Weapons that are designed for war, weapons that are designed to kill the most amount of people in the shortest period of time. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. That is what's unique to the United States as opposed to a country or a continent like Australia, or a city like the UK, or a city like, a country like Germany, or a country like Spain, or a country like Portugal, or a country like Brazil, where you don't have unfettered access to this type of weaponry, and you don't have a mindset in America where it's the wild, wild west.
Right.
And everybody, hey, what's the solution? Having as many guns as the perpetrator has guns.
Right.
If I have more guns than the perpetrator does, then that's a solution. No, it's not. Okay? First of all, in real time, excuse me.
I'm going to say Chris.
And I know I can get into the weeds here about this, but this whole idea that if I have superior firepower to you, that's going to solve this problem, it's completely redonkulous.
Right.
All right? It's just not true.
But see,
all right?
Chris, let me cut in real quick.
Again, it's about the mentality,
Right. You're
Jamie.
not
it's
wrong.
about the gun culture in America.
You're not wrong, but Chris, I have to push back at you now on my own, because I feel as though that when you say things like that, it's very dismissive. I'm gonna tell you why. Because we're in a state of politics right now where all we're doing is just having conversations. Whether you're a radio personality, whether you're a politician, whether you are a political commentator on CNN or Fox News, all we're doing is talking about it. We're talking about, oh, well, Australia has solved the gun crisis and all these other countries have put these laws into place. Well, if we're not going to do that, what can be some real solutions that we can put in place? And I feel like one thing that we can focus on is the mental crisis. Because if you look at all these issues and all these shootings, it always is somebody who has a mental issue or who had a breakdown or who was in the hospital on meds and nobody was helping them. And time and time again, there were all these clues in place that were saying, hey, I'm going to do this before I actually do it, and nobody steps up. And that's the biggest issue to me, Chris, because as somebody who has actually lived through shooting scares and school shootings outside, and when I was a teacher in Atlanta, that stuff hits home. It's scary. And before you comment, I do want to say our phone lines are open. I do see we have Tracy and Cyrus waiting online. The number to call in is 702-221-7283, and I'm going to let you guys answer, but I want to get back to Chris when I say this, and after this, we'll open up the phone lines for you guys to talk. But Chris, I feel like when you say stuff like that, because we're in a country where politics and politicians aren't really doing anything, I feel like one thing that we can actually do as regular civilians in America is work on pushing mental health politics and helping out with nonprofits and making sure we're stepping up and getting our voices heard, because the politicians aren't doing anything.
Okay, you're not pushing back on me. I mean, look, I agree with most of what you said.
But you're saying that
there's no pushing back. No. Look, you're stuck on the mental health issue, Jamie. Look, there are mental health issues in this country, without question, okay? By the way, in the state of Texas, where Greg Abbott is the governor, and also in the state of Florida, where Ron DeSantis is the governor, those are two states that are severely underfunded when it comes to mental health issues. So I'll just put that out there, all right? So
you're not wrong.
All you people out there that want to say mental health is the main problem with these mass shooting issues, give me a break, okay? That's number one. But Jamie, it's only one aspect of what we're talking about. That's why I'm saying bigger picture, man.
Okay.
I'm talking about bigger picture in that this, they're, and I agree with you that yes, government officials, lawmakers need to do something. Talk is over. It's over. There's enough time for talk. Man. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir, my friend.
Chris,
when you've been that up,
right?
So you're not enlightening me on that.
And also,
I'm telling you, yes, it's a problem that needs to be addressed by the lawmakers.
Right.
Senators, congresspeople need to get to work when it comes to finding common sense gun legislation. Look, there are a lot of things that you can fix when it comes to how government deals with this issue and how they address it. And shout out, by the way, to everybody on YouTube that's commenting, whether it's Brittany Walker, whether it's Richie, whether it's Aaron Martindale,
Williams
as well
family
as,
on there.
Even Gasman chiming in too, saying
Gasman,
who's usually very critical of us.
Right.
But hey, the point being is that yes, I agree with you. Lawmakers need to
do something,
put their feet in the fire, get working,
Right.
and get something done about
And
this.
my biggest thing that I was trying to get to is that all we're doing is having conversations. Chris, you've been on the show, you've led the show, you've even talked to politicians on your own shows.
Well,
And even being here for a month and a half, me and Brian have talked to so many different Republicans, and it's not a Republican issue only, but we've talked to Republicans, and every time I try to peacefully ask them, well, what are your solutions to the gun crisis in America? They get offended, they get defensive, they talk around the question, they never give you any solutions, and they just argue with you about nothing. I'm just tired of it, man. I have been somebody who's been a victim of gun violence time and time again, and I'm grateful. And you're in the Army, so you know what gun violence is for real. But I'm happy to be able to say that I'm still alive, but every day you're walking into public places and you're scared, man. It's too much. I do want to open up the phone lines. We have people waiting for a while. Let's go ahead and toss it over to Tracy, who called in at 702-221-7283. Tracy, how are you and what's up?
Hey, guys. I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Happy to have you on. What's up?
Good. So the frustrating thing for me when I hear about like these shootings, of course, is, yes, it creates like a sense of fear and anxiety just going out in public. You feel like your entire sense of just going out and just doing normal things is kind of overshadowed in a way by just having to be so hyper aware and hypersensitive to your surroundings, which is always a smart thing anyway, but it's just like extra. Right. And so there's like, it's always just that part of it that makes it really scary, because you just never know who, quote unquote, the crazies are. But I also think that the issues in Texas, for example, where this shooting just happened in Allen, I think it does stem from like mental health. I think that's part of it, but obviously the bigger issue is just access to guns. And then there's just not enough like capabilities, I think, to report issues with people. You know, I don't know of any way for us to say, okay, I know a crazy person at my job who said something stupid, like I'm going to come and shoot up everybody here or whatever. How do I report that? And then what happens if I do report them? So, because people know when they're around someone who is a little bit touched and potentially dangerous. And so if there's a way for them to report where it can actually, you know, have some kind of reporting and it's followed up, and people can, just like CPS, right? You have a way to report child abuse and things like this. Why do we not have, or if we do have it, why is it not heavily marketed that there is a way to report crazy people, you know, or people who are mentally unstable? Because to me, it does start from a mental issue, but then having the access to the guns, even if they get it legally, initially, do we have some sort of system in place where we're doing regular checks, like every 6 months? You got to go get a health check or something.
You're not wrong whatsoever. Before I comment on your statements, where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
You're from Texas. Are you close to Allen, Texas?
Yeah, it's within a couple hours.
Okay. Now, how does the situation that's very close to your hometown make you feel? Do you feel like you're unsafe in your public areas?
I mean, there's been shootings right in my area at the local high schools and stuff in the last couple of weeks there in Texas.
Sorry to hear that.
So it's always something happening. It's never a matter of, oh, that's too close to home or that's so far and it doesn't apply. It's sad all the way around. Right. But it does make you feel uncomfortable because you're in an area that you think is pretty, you know, affluent, well-to-do, whatever, just not typically a crime-ridden kind of place, and you feel safer, but then you're really not, you know, because anything can happen at any time. I was just at a concert, an outdoor concert, and the thought was like, okay, there could be something happening here. Like your mind needs to be on what's my exit plan, what's my exit strategy all the time.
Right, and Tracy, like, you make a great point. You make an excellent point. Actually, I was just at Lovers and Friends this past weekend, and I was talking to my friends after the fact because I don't want to bring it up at the actual show itself, that I was a little uncomfortable. Literally last week before the fest, Brian and I were talking about the Las Vegas shooting and the motive of the shooter. The same week I was going to a festival and being on the festival fairgrounds surrounded by a bunch of tall, hotels and casinos, I was a little nervous. I was thinking to myself, how close can a gunshot get to the festival ground? How long can these gunshots reach? Will I be safe? Where do I go? There are so many people crowding this area. How would I be able to make it out safely? So you're not wrong. When I go into these public spaces, I do have angst in my body because I'm not sure of if I'll be safe, and it sucks to feel this way. What's your thoughts, Chris?
Well, Tracy and Jamie, it's very disturbing to me that you had that mentality. Look, Jamie, I don't know what Tracy's age is. I'm not going to ask her because I have class.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but I'm a generation older than you. I'm a Generation X. I'm old to be Jamie's dad. I'm old enough to be Jamie's dad.
But you actually are. I think you're older than my dad, Chris.
Yeah. But my point being is that I didn't have to worry about that when I was your age and younger about going out to public places and worried about getting killed or getting shot, going to school. When I went to elementary school in my home state of Michigan and Massachusetts, where I went to high school as well as college, I was not worried going into public places, going into classrooms, worried about it getting shot up. It's just not a mentality that we had to deal with. You guys, and when I say you guys, I'm talking about the Gen Zers, the people that are in their 20s and younger. This is something you had to deal with,
and still deal with
since you were kids. You've had to deal with this type of mentality and this issue in America where it's been. And look, we understand that since 2000 now we have a 24-hour news cycle, right, where you have 24-hour news. So every single situation gets magnified tenfold than it used to before 2000 when you didn't have 24-hour news access and people didn't have cell phones where you could immediately see, oh, look what happened yesterday in Uvalde, Texas.
That's
what
part
happened,
of it.
Yeah. What happened yesterday in Allen, Texas? Well, another mass shooting in America. So that's really what I want to get to. Look, I understand the point you're bringing up regarding mental health. I understand what Tracy's talking about with respect to motivations for these people and why and where their heads are at as far as committing these crimes. But as far as just the overall atmosphere we have in America right now, where people are fearing for their lives when they go out in public, is something that should not exist.
My biggest thing,
or we should at least be making efforts to address fixing that, and so that it's not something that exists. And and Tracy and Jamie, we quite frankly are not doing that in the United States of America. We're not. We are tied up. Yeah, we're tied up in a political quagmire. Where one side of the aisle doesn't want to do anything about it. One side of the aisle, which happens to be my side, which is the Democrats, are complaining about it and are upset and don't understand why we can't do something about it. And then people in the middle are like, whatever. And
my biggest issue with
it's
all
very
this,
difficult
Chris,
to deal
is that having these feelings inside, and Tracy said this as well before you go on to our next caller, is that you don't want to say these things out loud because words do have power. And I personally believe that you can speak things into existence. So I'm literally in the middle of watching Soulja Boy doing the Soulja Boy dance, and I'm like, hold on, let me look up. Am I safe? Let me look around. Everybody's getting closer. I just got scared, and I didn't feel like it was appropriate to tell my friends, like, hey, I'm a little nervous right now because I wouldn't want to ruin their mood or vibe as well. Thankfully, nothing happened, and I'm being told that there are a lot of procedures that Vegas has in place to make sure that we can prevent these mass shootings happening at festivals again. So, yeah, I mean, it's a hard time for a lot of us here in America. Tracy, thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, Tracy.
I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And look, Jamie,
can I say one more thing?
Yeah, what's up, Tracy?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I'm also helping to plan a festival in Texas, and that's one of our major concerns as well. Is the security aspect of it for the attendees. So it's something that we all are just conscious about.
Wait, hey,
and
Tracy,
it's unfortunate, but
you're planning in Texas. Is it a major festival?
It's called Ethos MetaFest. It's at ethosmetafest.com. People can go to the website now and get on the list for more information. It's going to be in August on the 12th and 13th. This year. And it's going to be an awesome festival, but we are very concerned about making sure that we have security things and all of that in place to can make it a safe place because of things like this that happen. And Jamie, I'm like you, I don't like to speak things out loud and put that out into the atmosphere because I believe in the power of words as well. And so, you just try to stay positive and all of that. And on a positive note too, I just want to congratulate you now today. I see you're leading the show today.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. I appreciate it.
Wherever Brian is, my thoughts, prayers with him. Hope he's good. But yeah, you're doing a great job.
Thank you, and I appreciate
Good to talk
you.
about
Hey,
it,
Tracy,
man.
I'm wishing you the best of luck and security and happiness, successfulness in your Ethos MetaFest festival this upcoming August. And thanks so much for calling
Thank
in.
you.
We're going to move on to Cyrus, who's also a caller. Can you hear us, Cyrus? Oh, you there,
How's it
Cyrus?
going?
Cyrus, what's
Yes,
going
I'm
on?
What's
here.
going on?
Do you hear me?
Yep, we got a few more minutes before break. What's up?
I just wanted to echo what the previous caller just said. I think a lot of people are just fearing to go out anywhere, and I think when you're seeing all these store closures happening all across, in many shopping centers, I think this is going to likely accelerate it, and this is going to make people more isolated, less likely for people to have face-to-face conversations. Even in like parks and community centers and churches and you name it. And it just makes me feel like when I talk to somebody might perceive it as a threat,
right?
Even though I'm just trying to have a normal conversation. And it probably make me as the next suspect or whatever.
Right.
And it's just, to me, it's really making the climate very uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, hey, you're not wrong. I think your statements are very on par with what we're all feeling here in the station, is that it's you start to feel more uncomfortable as you go out when you're waking up every day hearing about these stories and not knowing if you're going to be a victim next or if your family members are going to be victim next. Cyrus, I send you my love and my security and protection because I get it, man. We're in very high stakes right now in a country where we have people who are at their breaking points. I mean, I personally have never gotten to the breaking point where I want to shoot people up, but I do have sad moments. So if I have really sad moments, I'm wondering you understand. I'm wondering what other people are going to make them break like that, where they want to go take other people's lives. Look, I'm super against suicide. I'm super against homicide and all that. And we do have to go to break soon. So Cyrus, I want to say thank you so much for calling in. But I want to
thank you. We're living in tough times.
We're living in tough times. But I want to say this: if you all are dealing with a mental health crisis, even if you're just sad, please utilize your suicide hotlines. Please reach out to your friends. Make sure you're seeking help because nothing in this world can be done alone. I don't care what anybody says. For those who are out here saying, I got it out of the mud, I did it on my own. No, you didn't. There's always somebody behind the scenes who are helping you out. So please remember, we are all just growing and trying to make a way through. No one has to be alone. Seek help. I want to thank you all again so much for calling in. We're going to move on to our next segment. We're going to be talking about this driver who ran into a bunch of migrants outside of a bus stop. And it's just another tragic story that happened this past weekend. Please, please, please continue to call in at 702-221-7283. We love when you guys call in and give us your opinions. We're live on Pushing the Limits on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. And we're also live on all of our social media platforms at PTL Radio Show. That's PTL RADIO SHOW. Come on YouTube and come with us live. We'll be right back, all right?
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams, treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, They accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
Located only 4 miles from downtown Colorado Springs, at just 10 miles from Pikes Peak, Hyatt Place Colorado Springs Garden of the Gods offers spacious rooms featuring contemporary decor with stylish furnishings, including divided living and sleeping areas, the Hyatt Grand Bed, state-of-the-art media and work center, a 42-inch flat-panel high-definition television that easily integrates with laptops and other devices, and complimentary breakfast is included in your stay. Hyatt Place Colorado Springs Garden of the Gods at 503 West Garden of the Gods Road. Visit HyattPlace.com.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event. It requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well. So I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Gwynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Sapphire Pool and Day Club, the world's only topless gentlemen's day club, introduces its 2023 pool season lineup with a bevy of beauties and social media celebrities throughout the summer who will all host alongside hundreds of Sapphire's topless poolside entertainers. Enjoy brunch in the sun with items like frittata-style omelets, stripping chicken, and French kiss toast before washing it down with signature summertime cocktails. 10 lines beware. Go Bear! Ladies are welcome to go topless within the day club for the ultimate party. Guests can purchase affordable daybed packages, cabana packages, lounge chairs, and more. The best part though? Pushing the Limits will be broadcasting shows every other Friday throughout the pool season with a ton of surprise celebrity guests. Wow! Reserve your spot now. For more info, visit SapphirePoolLV.com or call 702-869-0003. That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire.
KSHP North Las Vegas, 107.1 FM, 1400 AM, K29 6HP North Las Vegas, and online at kshp.com.
Push the Limits coming away live on a Monday. Chris Wynn in for Brian Shapiro along with Jamie D coming to you from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. It's hour number 2, 107.1 on the FM side, AM 1400 on the AM side, and we are streaming all over the World Wide Web, folks. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, across the board, Twitter. Find Jamie D on Twitter. Jamie D, top notch when it comes to the social media. Brian Shapiro is too. Brian Shapiro is getting wired in with the social media, especially on TikTok. You gotta love sometimes the shirtless videos Brian Shapiro's got going over there on TikTok. And you can find me at Christian Wynn also on Twitter as well too. But Jamie, a lot to get into here. Hour number 2. Talk about the other tragic story in Texas. Talk a little bit of sports at the bottom of the hour. Ron Futrell is going to join us from 8 News Now. Big time, long time sports media personality here in town. Ron is wired in all things Vegas Golden Knights as they get set for Game 3 of their second round series in the Western Conference playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, as they are up in Edmonton taking on the Oilers. Also, possibly we're going to talk maybe a little about the Raiders draft situation, what he thought about the silver and black and who they got on draft day, and maybe a little about the A's too. There's kind of a hiccup in the possible financial situation regarding the A's coming to Las Vegas, so we'll do that as well. One of my favorite gaming bars in town, guys. Jackson's Bar and Grill. Top notch across the board. When you want to talk about a menu that is excellent, when you want to talk about machines that have your game of choice, they are outstanding. The promos are also a lot of fun here in May. You got the Keno Multiplier Wednesdays, 3 times points on Wednesdays, where you have, I believe it's 1,500 points. You get $100 free play. They also have Pass the Puck during Vegas Golden Knights hockey games, where if you get over a $200 win on Keno or you get a 4 of a kind, the puck is passed around the bar, Jamie. And myself, along with Brian Shapiro, have been the recipient of the puck, and then we got it jerked from us like two minutes before the period ends. And we end up losing out on some free play, but it's a great promotion. And go visit Jackson's Bar and Grill. Brian Sliplock and company do a great job over there. It's on Jones and on the corner of Jones and Flamingo, one of my favorite gaming bars in town. So Jackson's Bar and Grill, make sure you join it.
I love that place.
Yeah, so we talked about, obviously, the tragic shooting there in Allen, Texas, Jamie, that took place. Well, we had another tragedy, which is unrelated, but still is a focal point, right? Because we're talking about an issue that America is polarized about, and that is immigration, right, and migration. And, of course, you touched on it on the top of the show that on yesterday, a driver slammed into a group of migrants waiting at a bus stop outside of a shelter in the Texas border town of Brownsville. At least 8 people were killed, close to a dozen injured. It's not clear whether the incident was an accident or intentional at this point. There may be some recent news that have come up as far as exactly what the motivation was, or if it was a drunk driving type of incident, or exactly what went down. And as I pointed out, these tragedies are unrelated, Jamie, but they both, are moments of aching sorrow, right? For that took place against the backdrop of 2 very divisive issues in America.
Right.
One being mass shootings, and one being migrants and undocumented immigrants and the immigration situation in America, right? And how are we fixing that problem, right? What are we doing to address that issue? And that becomes a sticking point, right? Because we're talking about government taking action, right? Government's actually doing something to improve the situation for undocumented immigrants, for immigration, period, right? As far as how are we, getting people here safely? How are we keeping Americans safe at the same time? We don't want to lead into a narrative. We don't want to contribute to this BS narrative out there that like the majority of undocumented immigrants are dangerous to Americans. It's just not true. The word
Americans are dangerous to Americans.
The word used, Jamie, is what? Invasion, right? They're invading the country. They're
Taking
coming to
our
steal your jobs. They're coming
ones
to
you
kill
don't
your
want.
kids. They're coming to kill you.
Rape people.
This idea, again, and Brian has talked about this, and you have too as well, that the majority of undocumented immigrants coming to this country, people that are seeking asylum, in a lot of cases, because they're fleeing crime-ridden countries, either in Central America or beyond, and coming here, it is a problem that we think about them as the majority of them are bad people when they're not. In fact, it is the minority of them that are bad people. So if we come at least from that standpoint, we can be compassionate about it, right? And we can think about it, and we can actually make changes. Again, unfortunately, this is another sticking point, right? This is another issue where people are polarized, and people are on opposite sides, and people have opinions and ideas. A lot of people that don't have any idea about the issues, right? And I'm not sitting here acting like I'm an expert on immigration, because I'm not. But I do have a viewpoint on it, and I do have takes on it, and I do have opinions on it. And so it's very disheartening is the word I'll use, that we are in a position right now where you have situations like governors sending or busing, immigrants for political reasons, right? People want to compare what one Republican governor does when he ships up migrants to what's supposedly a liberal city, right? Or a liberal part of the country as political payback. And then they want to have this false equivalency of when Democratic governors do it because they're sending them for a better life, or because it's an option that is better for the people, and they actually inform them what exactly is going on. So to me, that's what really is the meat of this issue. But again, it's another tragedy, my friend. And look, we had something that happened here in Las Vegas, I want to say about 8-9 years ago, where you had someone just, and it happened to be a drunk driver, I believe, who just plowed into a bus stop here and killed about 10 to 12 people right down the street here, by the way, off of Spring Mountain. I want to say Spring Mountain in Decatur. And yeah, just rolled down the street and just plowed into a bunch of people. An absolutely horrific scene, and it repeated itself again down in Texas over the weekend, Jamie.
Now, the biggest issue that I have with all of this is the fact that we're not truly paying attention to the rhetoric that's being spewed out by our politicians. And I would like to touch on this with you, Chris, is you stated that, we're looking at, not we are, but people in America are being forced to look at immigrants and migrants as those who are taking over their jobs, dangerous individuals who are going to kill, shoot, and rape them or their kids, and they're coming in and taking up space. And that's not true. We have to look at the facts, and the facts are that American people are more of a threat to other American people. While there are evil individuals and dangerous individuals in every demographic, it is not just in the immigrant and migrant demographic. And what bothers me the most is the fact that when you look at these situations like the one we're talking about right now, we're talking about situations that are apparently not intentional. We don't know the motive yet. But if you look at the video, obviously, and all the media outlets are stating that the car ran a red light, lost control, and then flipped over and hit these 18 individuals. But if you're watching the video closely, the car didn't flip over until it actually hit these individuals. Now, do we know for sure if this car lost control beforehand? We don't know. We weren't in the car, and they're still investigating this. But to say that this wasn't intentional, I personally believe it was. That's just my own personal opinion about this, because the video just shows it. On top of that, you have authorities saying that, and I'm not going to say this man's name because he doesn't deserve the publicity either, but the driver has a huge rap sheet of violence. On top of that, the man tried to flee the scene and is not trying to cooperate with authorities. So all the clues lead to the fact that he did this on purpose. And again, I'm not an authority figure. I'm not anybody who can make the rules. But my biggest issue with all of this is the fact that when you have all of the clues out there, how we're going to sit here and not rule this intentional. That just bothers me.
And here's the thing about this, Jamie and Numchuck. This is going to lead into a political storm here in Texas that is going to be brewing big time, because here's another little tidbit as well, too, that I'll toss in here and bounce off you, Jamie. This is, when I talk about a political storm, I'm talking about this. This week, there's an expiration on Thursday of the COVID-era border restriction that was enabled the United States to swiftly expel certain migrants because of COVID situations, right? Oh, my gosh. So now you have the anticipated end of the policy, which has been the primary border enforcement tool since March of 2020. Right. It's already led to an influx of migrants with, that fear about a surge after it's lifted. You got a lot of GOP congressmen and people on the right warning of a again, using this word, foreign invasion. Okay, talking about it like they're just bad people coming to the country to just storm into the country, and it's kind of deep. It's going to deepen the political vulnerability for Biden, for President Biden in the situation, because quite frankly, and I'll say this as a Democrat. Yes, I'm about to criticize the Democrat. All you right wingers and MAGA people out there, Joe Biden and his administration, it's been tough for them. It's been a struggle to kind of counter claims about the border crisis, to kind of control the narrative about the border crisis. And yes, there are points when it is a crisis. I've been on this show many times, and I've tried to point out to people that act like, there's 50 migrants waiting on their doorstep ready to take over their house. That's not the case. But it is absolutely an issue. So, I mean, from a political standpoint, something has to get fixed here. And again, I'm not an expert on immigration, but I expect that the powers that be, i.e. the Biden administration, and people that are in charge, I think Kamala Harris, if I'm not mistaken, is the one that's supposed to be technically in charge of this issue when it comes to the Biden White House. They're going to have to talk to people that know that have expertise, that know what's going on.
You're not wrong.
To actually fix the problem.
You're not wrong. And you made a great point about how politicians are using migrants and immigrants as a political pawn to then send to different locations as a showcase. I think that's wrong. And I'm about to say something that
it is wrong.
It is wrong. Yeah. But I'm about to say something that may not compare at all. But when I, for example, am going to somebody's house, let's say I need to stay at your house for a weekend, Chris, I already have anxiety in my body. Like, I don't want to get in your way. I don't want to do anything. So I'm going to keep all my stuff in a small space, and I'm going to try to stay out of your way because I know you're doing me a favor, right? Now, that's how I feel when I'm going into somebody else's space. Imagine how these immigrants and migrants are feeling when they're coming into a new country to make a better life for themselves and for their children and for their family. They're coming here not knowing the language. Some may know a little bit of the language, or some may know the language, but they're coming here scared. They're coming here concerned. They're coming with a lot of anxiety, and they don't want to be a nuisance to people in the area. So they're just trying to do whatever they can to make it so that they're not a problem. So when they get on these buses and when they follow the rules of these politicians and they end up in these places where they're now being political pawns, I believe that these politicians should be held account for this. They need to be strucken down for these issues and these type of actions, because this is not okay. Why are you using this against people who are trying to make a better life for themselves? Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, to kind of round out what you said and to kind of cap it off, here's the deal. You are more likely to be a victim of a crime from a U.S. citizen than you are from someone who's an undocumented immigrant. That's just a fact, okay? You can look the numbers up any which way you want to. That is not something that's not Chris Wynn's opinion. It's not Jamie D. or Numchuck's opinion or Pushing the Limits opinion. That is a fact. So, again, it is a false narrative, that's been put forth by people that want to demonize immigrants, right? And we talk a lot on the show. You and Brian talk a lot on the show about people getting demonized, right?
Yep.
Immigrants, migrants, the LGBTQ community, right? Minorities. It's a constant theme that is brought forth, and it's brought forth once again when we're talking about this issue. So, look, we understand, again, a horrific tragedy in Texas. It happened, in an area where there's a number of migrants. So that's why that issue is brought up. But it's kind of to kind of wrap it in a bow, Jamie. It brings to heart and it brings to the forefront two major issues: immigration and mass shootings in Texas. That aren't just a Texas problem.
All within one weekend.
It's not just a Texas problem.
Right.
It's not just a southwestern part of the country problem.
It's
an American problem that needs to get dealt with.
And I'm on your side. I really wish politicians would actually step up and help these individuals. Let's move on to the phone calls. We do have two individuals who are waiting. If you want to get in on this topic, call us at 702-221-7283. Again, the number is 702-221-7283. We have Aaron on the line. How are you, Aaron? Hey, Aaron. Are you there? Hey, I'm good, Aaron. What's up? We're talking about the migrant situation that happened in Bronzeville, Texas. What's your thoughts?
Like Jamie said, I think it's, they're like, I guess coming over to somebody's house, they want to keep, them together, not getting anybody's way in. I'm okay with that. Most what I've seen is they come over to the country to get, refuge or whatever. And so they take jobs that us Americans are too lazy to get or don't want to get,
Let's talk about it. You're not wrong. A lot of times people are talking about these immigrants and migrants, and they're saying, well, they're stealing our jobs. Well, do you want to do yard work? Do you want to work in construction? I mean, there are people who want to, but most people who are talking about these issues aren't. They're in their comfortable.
I often refer to comedians when I talk about this issue because, look, comedians are there to be funny, right, and tell jokes.
Right.
But there's an element of truth in a lot of comedians, right? Dave Chappelle talks about this, and the element of truth. Are you really somebody that's out there that wants to pick your own strawberries?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The point being is that, yes, there are jobs out there that Americans do not want to do. And undocumented immigrants will come into this country and happily do. Not happily, but they're going to do it because they have to do it.
Right, and they're probably not even doing it because they want to. They're doing it because it's available because those in this country aren't doing them. And let's call a spade a spade. It's the individuals who are sitting comfortably at their desk jobs who are the ones complaining. You're, like you said, you're not going to go outside and pick your own strawberries. You're the one calling these immigrants and those who are undocumented to come clean up your house.
Jamie, I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better. It's not the people that are sitting in their offices. It's the people like that couple. I believe they were in Missouri, right? They were standing outside their door with their AR-15s and their weapons. It's the people that are multi-millionaires that are complaining. It is the upper class in America. It is the top, 15% to 5% to 2% that are the most boisterous when it comes to immigrants coming here and trying to either assimilate into society or just, again, as you pointed out, trying to come for a better life and to improve their life.
Right.
It is mostly those people. Yeah, are there people that are also, at the poverty line and people that are poor? Yes, because that's a lot of people that are MAGA, okay, that are complaining too. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are just bigots and racists, and so they're going to complain no matter what. But there's also a big portion of the people that are bitching and moaning about undocumented immigrants are people on the higher end of the spectrum from an economic standpoint.
And won't even do anything. Now, Aaron, I really appreciate you for calling in because that was a great statement you made.
Aaron.
I want to make sure to open up the other phone lines for other individuals who want to call in at 702-221-7283. Again, the number is 702-221-7283. Right now, we have JD on the phone. What's up, JD?
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Chris.
What's
Chris,
up, man?
JD, what's up?
Hey, Chris, on something as important a topic as you're talking about on immigration.
Right.
It is so important to have the facts correct. As of a few years ago, the federal government released population of federal prisoners in our prisons in the United States. 52% of those prisoners are illegals.
Wait, time out. Okay, so you're questioning the statement I made about 5 minutes ago, Jamie. He's questioning the statement I made that you are more likely. Is that what you're doing, JD? You're questioning my factual statement that you are more likely to be a victim of a crime from a U.S. citizen than you are an undocumented immigrant. Are you questioning that, because that is a fact?
Where
That's a fact.
Did you get that fact? Where do you get that fact?
That's a
from?
fact. It's from the government statistics. There's a number of places you can find it. I can jump on my phone right now and find numerous spots where that is. By the way, you just said that over 50% of people that are in the United States are undocumented immigrants. That's
52% of the prisoners in our federal prisons are illegals.
Okay, that absolutely, positively cannot be true. Jamie, Jamie, I'm looking up. Okay, so I'll look that up. Yeah, Jamie, look that up right now, because that cannot possibly be true. Because first of all, what's the percentage of the population in the United States that's undocumented? Period. That's in the country. What's the percentage? 12, 13%, I believe, right? Is it 12? 12, maybe 10%.
Well, JD, I'm not sure when you got your statistic. AP News says that legal immigrants make up 13% of federal prison population, and that's AP News.
Okay, so last time I checked, 13%, JD, is way less than 50+%.
That is correct in math, but
it would be correct. Yes.
It is also correct by the government figures of 5 years ago. I don't know exactly where you're getting your figures. Sheriff Lombardo has stated also, when he was sheriff, in a conversation that I had with him over the radio, that in 2017 in Clark County there were 85,000 felonies. 32% of those felonies, he stated, were committed by illegals. Isn't it ironic that the shooting in Texas, where the Mexican illegal deported 4 times, killed 5 illegal Hondurans?
Well, it's not ironic. It is actually a fact, and it's an anecdotal situation. Yes. So one person, yes. So you brought up one person.
Jamie, can I
so wait a minute.
What's
so
up?
Time out. You said you had a conversation with Joe Lombardo, who is now our governor, by the way. Governor Lombardo, right?
Correct.
You talked to him.
Correct.
Okay. So what is your point, JD? Is your point that undocumented immigrants are more? They have a tendency to be more criminal than the majority tends to be more criminal. Is that your overall end point? What is your point?
Excuse me. The point is they are committing many felonies, many murders. The girl from San Francisco, the Iowa girl jogging, just to come a point of mine, in New York City, 7 or 8 people gunned down. If it's one, as everybody likes to say, it's too many. But there are too many felonies being committed, and you keep calling them migrants and immigrants. They're illegals coming into the country. Jamie, are you familiar with Thomas Sowell and Walter Williams?
What about them?
Are you familiar with them?
No, tell me about them. What about them?
Well, Thomas Sowell, God bless him, is in his 90s. He's written about 55 books on the economy, and he's an intellectual black author that's been around for over 60 years, very successful.
Okay.
And Walter Williams was a professor. He passed away a couple of years ago at George Mason University, another economist. And I would behoove you, gentlemen, to look up some of the writings by these two gentlemen on what's going on in this country with illegals, with the black population. Every illegal that comes into this country, approximately $63,000 a year, is being spent by. Hello?
No, we can hear you, JD.
Hello?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Every illegal in the country is costing us about $63,000 a year. It impacts our school system because we have to teach them. Some of them are illiterate in their own language, so now we have 40 kids in schools. So 10 of them don't speak English. Right. Our test scores are down. We have to process the people in jail, and the police have to arrest them. Well, we have to put them in front of our courts. Let me just finish for another minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then we have to take care of them in the hospitals.
Right.
The impact on our taxpayer dollars are so vast and so much. You know what happens, Jamie?
What's up?
It allows the less amount of money for the black populations in the city that are desperately in need of financial.
Right. Well, here, JD, I really appreciate you for your opinions. I wish I could actually dive deeper into that with you, but we are close to our commercial break, so I will have to just thank you so much for calling in. Hey, call in again another time so we can have that conversation.
Well, here's the deal, Jamie. Here's the deal. Look,
he made some points that I definitely want to touch on, but we do have one more call I want to get to before break. What's up, Chris?
Okay. Well, so here's the deal. So JD's a long time. Give you a little background. JD's a long time caller into the shows that both Mark, Brian, and I, and the show you're doing now too as well. He's someone who is not afraid to demonize immigrants. Okay, that is essentially his end game. Is that immigrants are taxing financially on the country? They are. I mean, yes, they are. Okay, and JD, if he's still listening, okay. Yes, because I call them undocumented immigrants. I don't call them illegal because technically people can't be illegal as a person. All right, so that's why I don't use that word. You use it to denigrate those people. You use it to demonize them. I use the word undocumented immigrants or migrants, okay? So, but JD, look, he's on the right. He has a history of calling in here and, call it pseudo-racism, call it pseudo-bigotry, whatever you want to call it, or just call it bigotry for what it is. He calls in and makes a big deal and starts talking about why migrants, immigrants, illegals are so bad for America.
Right.
That's his end game.
Right.
And
like I said, I wish we had more time.
You're not aware because you haven't been
right. And now that I'm new here, and as everybody should know that I'm leading the show today, Brian will be back soon. He's unfortunately dealing with some personal things. We have to deal with these conversations with those who are racist or who pseudo-racist or on the right, because this is how we get solutions to be made, by having true conversations. I mean, I wish JD the best, but I hope he does see that immigrants are not the problem in America. All right, we have one more call before we go to break. Hey, let's move on to Lauren. Lauren, how are you?
I'm good.
What's up?
I guess I do agree with a lot of that what JD said. I am educated, but I paid for my education as a carpenter. Okay. Now you can say that people's livelihoods aren't affected, which is totally inaccurate, especially in building trades. Now, I was a union carpenter. Okay, so the pay is pretty good. It's most of the trades are at least or close to $50 an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say that it's not affecting people, 72% of all people that come into this country, legally or illegally, are on some form of public assistance. That's 72%. That's from, we
understand, but look, we understand your point. We got your point. So your point is that
I don't. Yeah. My point is this.
Right.
We have an earlier subject that you had about homelessness.
Right.
We can't even take care of our own homeless people, and we are constantly bringing more people into the country.
Yeah, it's called a balancing. We're doing a balancing act. Yes, we are. We're doing a balancing act in America.
That once they receive the family receives a green card and decides to bring their parents in, do you realize that that their parents are going to be eligible for SSI?
Well,
Lauren,
I hear the point you're making, but what you're doing and the rhetoric you're using is that you're saying that immigrants are the ones who are using up all of our federal government money, and that's just not true.
I did not say that.
Well, but I know you didn't say that, but that's what you're getting at. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that there are a lot of Americans in many different demographics that are on government assistance that aren't even doing as much as those who are immigrants and migrants are doing to make a better lives for themselves. What's your thoughts on that?
So you would prefer to take care of people that aren't part of our country than people that are part of our country.
All right, so look,
is that what you're telling me?
No, Jamie, let me chime in here.
You got it?
Look,
Okay. All
it's
right.
about
All right.
walking and
All right.
chewing gum at the same time, gentlemen, okay? This isn't an and/or thing, all right? We can walk and chew gum at the same time in this country. Okay. And I'm sorry, look, we have to get away from because we have to take a break.
We have to take a break.
But
Yeah.
I appreciate the phone call.
I understand that,
appreciate
but
the phone call. But
we're fighting the budget right now because of stuff like
appreciate
this.
the phone call. Thanks very
Hey,
much.
Lauren, thank you so much for calling in. Hey, please give us a call back again so we can have this conversation again. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. This is a great topic to talk about. If you guys want to call about other topics in the future, the number to call is 702-221-7283. And just a reminder, we're live on our social media platforms, specifically right now on YouTube at PTL Radio Show. That's PTLRADIOSHOW. In this next segment, we have amazing guests coming in who are going to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights and the Raiders. I want you all to get ready for this. Call in if you have any questions because you're going to hear a lot about what's happening in our current sports world here. You're now tuned into Pushing Limits Live on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well. So I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Sapphire Pool and Day Club, the world's only topless gentlemen's day club, introduces its 2023 pool season lineup with a bevy of beauties and social media celebrities throughout the summer who will all host alongside hundreds of Sapphire's topless poolside entertainers. Enjoy brunch in the sun with items like frittata-style omelets, stripping chicken, and French kiss toast before washing it down with signature summertime cocktails. 10 lines beware. Go Bear! Ladies are welcome to go topless within the day club for the ultimate party. Guests can purchase affordable day bed packages, cabana packages, lounge chairs, and more. The best part though? Pushing the Limits will be broadcasting shows every other Friday throughout the pool season with a ton of surprise celebrity guests. Wow! Reserve your spot now. For more info, visit SapphirePoolLV.com or call 702-869-0003. That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment and work injuries, you name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams, treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pushing Limits Live on KSHP AM 1400 and now 107.1 FM. Again, that's 107.1 FM. Super excited to have you all on our FM airwaves. Hey, before we get into our next segment, I want to talk about the breaking news that's happening right now in our backyard. Again, another senseless shooting. I'm so tired of it. Las Vegas police investigate after adult shot at Northeast Valley Middle School. Again, an adult shot at Northeast Valley Middle School. Currently, we have 3 schools that are under lockdown right now. I want to remind you all, this is a middle school. Regardless of what kind of school it is, it's just getting younger and younger and younger. Again, we have 3 schools that are on lockdown, including 2 nearby elementary schools, and this incident is still considered active. This is breaking news right now. The best part about all this is that police are saying there are no additional threats at this time. The suspect is still outstanding, and the school will remain in lockdown as the investigation continues. I hate saying this, but my thoughts and prayers goes out to those who are affected, and I'm praying that those at these middle schools are safe and are well. Now, going into our next segment, we have the talented Ron Futrell from 8 News Now, the CBS affiliate, to talk about everything from the Golden Knights, the Raiders, and the possible Las Vegas A's. Ron, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, this is my first time meeting you, so welcome on to Pushing Limits. Unfortunately, Brian's not here, but you do have me, Jamie D, and I'm sure you know C-Win, the freaking famous and popular Las Vegas C-Win. Everybody knows this man.
Hey, Ron, you just called me famous.
Are you everybody
right
knows
now?
you. You are a public figure here in Vegas.
Hold on a second, Brian. I'm trying to figure who you're talking. Brian
Shapiro.
Brian, not Salmon.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was. Wait,
No,
I thought it was coming up with the
not
great
that
Brian
Brian.
today.
Jamie, he's messing with you.
I know, that's
right
why I'm
now.
laughing.
Yes, he's messing with you.
What's
Jamie,
up,
yeah,
Ron?
we did touch base. By the way, we touched base at a ball game. I met you there at the
What was this?
at an Aviators game one time.
Las Vegas Aviators. You went out to the
Oh,
Las
yes,
Vegas ballpark,
yes.
Jamie.
That was it was super quick. Yes. Okay, now I remember.
It was super quick, and
Yes.
me and Shapiro, the whole time, we just went at it. We were going back and forth.
Ron,
back
yes,
straight
that's
paint.
why I remember, because we didn't get to talk because you and Brian were bickering the entire time.
Because Ron, nobody gets into it with Brian Shapiro ever.
I had to stay out of it.
He never gets everybody gassed up at all, right, Ron? Come on now.
The important thing was I won.
Exactly.
And the important thing was of course. It was
Hey,
game,
Ron,
set,
I'm not
match.
gonna lie.
It was like,
I haven't said that in person. It was very interesting to see Brian get shut down a little bit because Ron gave it to him.
Here's what's fun: is that Brian and I can do it, and we don't take it personal.
Right.
And that's not the case all the time. Chris and I can do it. We don't take it personal,
Right.
and we can trade some paint and have some fun with it and smile the whole time as we're doing it, and still make points. At least think we make points, and that's that's not seen often enough in today's world.
Right.
Well, speaking of winning, Ron, of course, both teams playing in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers both winning 1 game apiece here in Las Vegas, culminating with a Saturday game that was just brutal to watch, my friend. They're covering it on Saturday, 5-0 in the second period, and people were already starting to. A lot of the medieval maniacs were starting to head for the exits, my friend, Mr. Ron Futrell, as the Edmonton Oilers were putting on a scoring display. But Vegas Golden Knights looked pretty good. Game 1, got that victory over Edmonton in Game 1, but now they head north to the fine province of Alberta for Game 3. And Ron, it's going to be interesting to say the least to see how the Vegas Golden Knights respond after that very tough loss on Saturday to Edmonton.
Got to show up on this one. Certainly, the Knights. Right. They got to turn things around. It was depressing there, and you can't say that very often at T-Mobile Arena, where it was. It was just a bad because it happened so quickly, and it seemed so effortless on those power plays. The first one, Leon Draisaitl scores a goal on the power. He's right. They did everything. Here's the problem: is the Knights know everything they're going to do at the power play, but they cannot stop it. I watched every game against the Kings in Edmonton because being from LA, I'm a Kings guy, and I hated the Oilers by the time that series was over. I hate them even more now. Hate's a strong word. I know that. I really don't hate anything, but you get it. You get my point. Is I respect what they can do. Boy, it's amazing that they can. You know what they're going to do. You know where Draisaitl's going to be. They did mix it up a couple of times during the game just to show, just to mess with the Knights a little bit and show they could do it different. But they had 3 power play goals. Of their 5 goals, 3 power play goals and 1 shorthanded goal, a phenomenal goal by Connor McDavid. And even though it was 5-1, the Knights lost. It could have been 100-1. It felt like 100-1. It felt like a total blowout, like it was not even close because it happened so early, so fast. The fans were taken out of it. And now, Edmonton, I think the winner, I'll say something I think that might spark things a little bit, is I think the winner of this series wins the Stanley Cup.
Think so?
I'll go there.
Okay.
Yes, I'll go there. I think these are 2 of the strongest teams left right now. Carolina, certainly from the East, Florida has done some crazy things, beating Boston and going out from there. And then you have Dallas on the West that's still got one of the best goalkeepers that's left there in the playoffs right now, and a pretty good coach in Pete DeBoer. So that being said, I think the winner of the Stanley Cup comes from this series. So that's how important this one is for the Knights, in my opinion. That they can roll, they can rock it, they can raise a cup if they can get past Edmonton. That's the big if right now at this point.
Ron, and now you said that there's some of the strongest teams right now that are currently playing. I gotta say, you're one of the strongest sports journalists out there, especially in Vegas right now. And I really want to pick your brain because even making that point about what happened at the Aviators game, thank you for saying that because Brian introduced me to a lot of people. I listen to you guys when you're talking at the Golden Knights game, and a lot of times you sports journalists have a thought about what you're going to see going into the game, and you may not even get to see that. So walk me through that. What did you expect for the game this past Saturday, May 6th, and did it actually happen?
I didn't expect it to be that bad on the Knights' end. I didn't expect it to be that much of an onslaught. Now, I expected the Oilers to do what they did. Again, watching them play every game during the Kings and just massacre the Kings, they hit 50% of their power play goals against the Kings, and then they hit 2 out of 3 in their first game against the Knights, even though the Knights won that, but they hit 2 out of 3. So I thought, okay, if you're going to get behind them, you're going to, and it's tough not to get penalized against them because they're so fast, right? Both Draisaitl and McDavid. They're so quick that the only way you can go is go after them and get called for penalties, then it's over. I thought, okay, here, if you look back on that first goal when the net got dislodged and the goal went in after, and so they had to make a ruling, decide whether the goal was good or not. And I thought, oh, good news, bad news. Good news, the goal didn't count. Bad news, Braden McNabb is called for a penalty. So 3 goes to the penalty box, Braden McNabb. And I go, okay, it might as well just been a good goal because we know what's going to happen here. Sure enough, and we were sitting up top, where the media all sit up there, and we get a good view up there. Chris, Jamie, you can see it. You can see way down, and I'm just watching them set up that power play, and I'm having PTSD from watching the Kings series, and going, oh, I know this. I've seen this. The Knights know this. They've seen this. Everybody knows what they're going to do, and you got to fill the lanes, and you got to. And Mark Stone was trying to shadow Draisaitl as much as he could, and it still couldn't stop it. Still hit 3 power play goals, 1 shorthanded goal. So no, that's for Saturday. Yeah, that was now the NHL. Professional athletes are very good, much better than fans are at forgetting about it and moving on. No, fans are going. Oh, they just remember the last game. That's sports betting. Look at sports betting in the NFL and how people remember only the last game when they bet a team and they say, okay, they got blown out last week, so they're going to get blown out again this week, or they looked so good last week, they're going to keep. No. 1 week it can change overnight and does quickly. So the Knights need to hope that happens to them. It's a 5:30 start tonight in Edmonton.
Ron, I really appreciate the point that you make that a lot of these professional athletes are able to take the lose or take the win and brush their shoulders off and go into the next game looking to make a difference. However, we see right now that the Golden Knights and the Oilers are going head to head. Their Wednesday game, it was 4-6 with the Knights winning. This past Saturday game, it was 5-1 with the Knights losing. And now we have a game tonight at 5:30. I want you to make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
I got the Oilers by a couple of goals. I'm going to go with a 6-4 Oilers win, maybe
so?
6-3. something like that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I'll tell you what.
Are you against the Knights, Ron? Are you a Golden Knights hater? That's what it sounds like.
Got to be unbiased. No, I am. I told you that PTSD is set in watching this team, Edmonton, play so many games and so often, and seeing how strong they are. I do. I like the playoffs. William Karlsson is having a spectacular playoff run here. He's going to have his wife's going to have a little baby boy here soon too. So that's sort of cool for Wild Bill. Jack Eichel's doing everything we expect him to do in the playoffs. Mark Stone is just a fire plug. He is so much fun to watch, and they're able to block shots, but they just cannot. There were 16 penalties in the last game. Now, not each of them resulted in a power play, and often, especially towards the end of the game, when it digressed into fighting, the Knights were called for 16 separate penalties in the game. And again, that was an aberration. It's not that stuff doesn't happen again, and they didn't all result in, not even half of them, in power plays, fortunately. Or it would have been double figures for Edmonton. But I just see right now, Edmonton we'll see what Bruce Cassidy can do to respond and how he can take them out of their game with the power play. And I'm not as encouraged up there with all those blue and orange jerseys up there. The ugly blue and orange. Okay, to my Gorman fans here in town, if you're Gorman, you're fine. You're blue and orange. I get that. But the blue and orange up there at Edmonton, that's tough to look at for Knights fans.
Longtime personality, 8 News Now, Ron Futrell joining us here on Pushing the Limits, talking some VGK, getting set for Game 3 tonight up in Edmonton at Rexall Place, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Vegas Golden Knights on the road. You talked about it a little bit at the top of the segment, Ron. Goaltending, right? Hot goalies sometimes can win series and win you Stanley Cups. You know that yourself, being a Kings guy with Jonathan Quick between the pipes, right? So your thoughts as far, obviously we saw on Saturday, finally, Laurent Brossoit is facing some adversity, right? A tough game on Saturday. You talked about how that goal that Connor McDavid had, shorthanded by the way, I thought that was a horrible goal that Laurent Brossoit gave up in that situation, because it wasn't even a shot. He just basically guided it in to the net there. But how do you think Laurent Brossoit responds here between the pipes for the Vegas Golden Knights as they head up north to Edmonton for the
that goal that you're talking about was an interesting one. It went low and stayed low, and I think he thought that Connor McDavid was going to go high with that, but he was being harassed on his way to the net. I think it was Pacioretty that was on him. But anyway, no, we're going to see how he can come back from this, and I think he can. This is interesting to see two guys that are sort of, we'll call them rookies. I mean, Stuart Skinner is a guy, he's playing in his first Stanley Cup playoffs, as is Laurent Brossoit, and it's fun to watch that. I mean, you think of the great goalies that are left. Ottinger with Dallas is still there in the playoffs, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Whoever, unless Seattle does something crazy, but whoever gets on to the second, and they did last night 7-2. But whoever goes on to the next round against either Seattle or Dallas. But okay, on these two goalies here, I love the Brossoit story. I like talking to the guy. The guy is very engaging. He's very interesting to talk to, fun to talk to.
Absolutely.
He always has something in that locker room that's interesting to say. Whenever you go up to him with a mic, and I've done it a dozen times now, he's always going to come away with something fun and interesting. It's not going to be Marc-Andre Fleury-esque, but he was the mountaintop. But it's pretty darn good, and he's always got and so that makes me a bit of a fan of his from that point of view. But I like what the Knights have done with goalkeeping this year, when it was the big question starting the season with Logan Thompson going, I don't know what's going to happen. Aiden Hill, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. They both get injured. They're out for a while. Then they put in a Yuri Patera comes up from Henderson, and he plays and wins and gets injured again. And then they make the deal to get the before-mentioned Jonathan Quick, who's going to have a statue outside Crypto.com Arena, the old Staples Center, before too long when he retires with the number 32 on it. So that being said, I'm having now that, but Brossoit has, again, the question was, how's he going to do in the playoffs? And he's done a remarkable job. He is going up against the before-mentioned powerhouse team. I mean, the Kings couldn't stop them either, and they got pretty good goalkeeping that they just acquired late in the season. And that Phoenix Copley never got the shot against them. Picking up Koskinen and what he was able to do, he did his best, and he's a veteran goalkeeper. So I like the job that Brossoit is doing so far against them, but boy, this is. You need two goalkeepers, and both of them be walruses.
Right.
Okay, how about that? Was that?
That is accurate, Ron. That's spot on, my friend. And look, I tweeted it out the other day. I said 29 is going to do what 29 does. They got to find a way, Ron Futrell, to stop Leon Draisaitl. The guy is a scoring machine. He scored the first four goals for Edmonton, in game one. Then he ends up, on the score sheet again on Saturday. I don't care. I don't know what they have to do. I don't know what Bruce Cassidy and the staff have to do. They got to find a way to solve that guy. And look, we get it. Connor McDavid, probably the best hockey player in the world, right? They have Nugent Hopkins. They have Evander Kane, who everybody loves here in Vegas, by the way.
Who does?
But, they've got to find a way to solve that number 29.
Well, Chris, I mean,
go ahead,
Ron. Go ahead.
Outscore them might be one way to do it. And that's a simple thing, is to go, okay, make this into a 7-6 hockey game, and just be able to do that. But that's easier. It's okay, just outscore them. All right, because they're going to get their goals. They are going to get them.
Yep.
Listen, the best part that you guys are talking about is the fact that the goaltenders, they're not getting as much praise as the other players because they're the defense, but we don't realize that in hockey, they are the ones that keep the wins coming. I think the biggest point that I want to make is that, a lot of people are really rooting for the Golden Knights to take the Stanley Cup because this is a team that is local to Vegas. This is the only team that's local to Vegas. And when we're seeing that they're losing to Edmonton, it's pushing people to get really nervous in the season.
Well, hey, no, they're not losing. It's still 1-1, Jamie.
It's only 1-1.
Yeah, it's only 1-1.
It's 1-1, but
and Jamie, it's Vegas, bro.
I know.
So
I know it's
1-1,
1-1, but I'm saying, they just lost their last game. The game before that, it was a close call. So you have a lot of people who are here on edge. I'm reading a lot of the comments, but I mean, you make a great statement. The game's not over. There's still a turnout that can happen for either team. But Chris, what do you expect for tonight's game?
Well, no, here's the deal. I agree with Ron Futrell on this. We agree.
What?
I think that the Vegas Golden Knights.
Ron said what?
I know, exactly.
What?
Hey,
I'm surprised too because you go hard for the Knights.
I think the Golden Knights are behind the 8 ball. I think Edmonton's
think so, for real?
Okay, so look, I think Edmonton's a better hockey club,
Dude,
Jamie.
you push
They're
for the
a better
Knights
team.
so hard,
They have more
though.
offensive power. They have they're right now they're more cohesive, especially on the blue line, than the Vegas Golden Knights are. The Golden Knights, don't necessarily have the injury issues they had over the regular season.
Right.
But Ron, I'm on board with Ron. I think
this is what my point.
And
my
Ron,
point stands.
I don't agree with Ron though that the team that wins this series is going to win the Stanley Cup.
Ooh.
If the Golden Knights win this series, Ron. I guess what I'll say. I think if Edmonton wins the series, I think absolutely the Oilers are probably going to be the favorite to win the Stanley Cup. But if the Golden Knights find a way to win this series, I still don't think that they get past the other teams that they're going to have to deal with throughout the rest
Dallas,
of the
they're going to have home. They're going to have home ice against Dallas. They would have home ice.
Yep.
Against everybody in the East, I think, except Carolina.
Right.
So they could have home ice, which, by the way, they have right now against Edmonton. They have home ice advantage.
Well, they lost it. They just lost it because Edmonton won.
Well, they lost it. That's right. But
they just lost it. Yeah, but they can get it right. But Ron, you're right. They can get it right back. They can get it right back if they win
They
tonight.
can get it right back tonight. We can have this conversation tomorrow, and we can be going, wait a second, 2-1 Knights. They got home ice back, and they're able to, okay, they're on a roll. They did what they had to do. They outscore. They're not going to win. There are no 2-1 hockey games between these two teams.
Hey, Ron,
let's go there.
Right. You're not wrong. Hey, we have literally less than a minute left. I want you to give us some time and talk to us about the Raiders. What should we expect right now during this draft? We're pretty much running out of time, but give me something real quick.
I like picking a quarterback, getting O'Connell out of Purdue. I think that was a slick move to back up Jimmy Garoppolo, who can get hurt. But you got to get to the quarterback on defense. And Chandler Jones had such a horrible season last year that they needed somebody on that other side to help Max Crosby. So let's see if Wilson can do it. Tyree Wilson be able to be the guy that can do that. He's going to get the opportunity. He'll get every opportunity to be able to do that. The Texas Tech Red Raider going to a Silver and Black Raider.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Ron. We really appreciate you for having you in. Again, for those who just now joined us, Ron Futrell, he is the GOAT at sports journalism. We appreciate you for having you in. Thank you so much for calling in. Hey, this was such a great day. See Win, again,
Good
the
time,
famous
Jamie.
radio personality here in Vegas. It was a good time. Thank you so much for being here as I led my first show for Pushing Limits. Unfortunately, Brian wasn't able to be here today. We miss him. Hopefully, we'll have him back in tomorrow. But remember, guys, this is Pushing Limits on KSHP AM 1400 and 107.1 FM. Follow us on all of our social media channels at PTL Radio Show. That's PTL RADIO SHOW. That's Jamie D and C Win logging out. Thanks, guys.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone